The 494th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks with Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 594 of the MMA Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to my wife for surviving 22 years of marriage with me. That's a lot of years to survive. Thanks for coming to the show. I am one of your hosts, Jeff Chalks Fox. And this is not a UFC recap. We ended up with, 11 fights last night. We only had picks on 10 of them. So maybe we'll talk a little UFC on Wednesday, or maybe a little today before we kick things up. And this is the PFL episode. We have PFL 6 going down this. Always got to check the date because they like to switch things up. It is a Friday event once again in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. PFL 6 2024 regular season. We have a 13 fight card. We're going to either give you 6 or 7 fights today, and then whatever we don't finish up, we will hit you with on Monday's episode and get you some winning picks for PFL. PFL 5 just went down a few days ago. I did not see any of it because I was out, so I'm going to kick it to my regional MMA picking expert and see if he can give us a little recap and let us know how our picks did. That would be Daniel Gumby Breland. Hello, sir.
It was a little subpar. We leaned into the favorites, the parlay favorites league moniker that we had been joking about, and turned out that
I get it. PFL, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it now.
You got it.
Yeah.
And they wound up being a little dog heavy. A couple of a lot of people going to decision, which was kind of a bummer. All said and done, we were down like $180 if you bet $100 on every fight. So not ideal for what we're looking for. But the week before we were up to 35. So I think, over these last 3 events right now, we're just above even on the PFL and looking to make this one even better.
Excellent. Yeah, this is so it switched. It went back to it reverted back. Did it? It's not just favorites winning anymore. It's
they're pretty of like a favorite heavy organization, like notoriously if you look over time. Yeah. Not to mention, we talked about the bad matchmaking 2 weeks ago. True. Yeah. So that's part of it. You'll see it on some of these ones here. I think some of these fights are absolute washes and probably going to have odds that are astronomical that you don't even want to touch. At the same time, I think, hey, maybe that's why they combined with Bellator. It's perfect.
But we also call it the PFL Tour. They're the favorites league and the PFL Tour. Someone in our Discord cleverly called them. So we got PFL 6 going down this week. This week would be welterweights and featherweights. Thoughts on these classes, thoughts on the matchups that they made for round 2. I won't ask you thoughts on the odds because you don't know the odds, but I do. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know the odds. Right before we started recording, you asked me if I knew them, and I don't. So this will be a fun game of me. I got a little. This is how high tech I am. I got my little spreadsheet here for me to guess the odds, but I guess we'll see what those look like. As far as the matchups go, I don't know. Maybe this weight class is kind of underwhelming for me because it seems like everybody has either been around for 100 years or has some sort of major flaw in their game that bums me out. And yeah, I was really excited for the heavyweights and the women's flyweights. This is maybe the antithesis of that because there's just look at Bubba Jenkins. I don't mean to make this about Bubba Jenkins, and we're not even going to talk about him until tomorrow. Bubba Jenkins should have won his last fight by just, absolutely wrestling for 15 straight minutes. And I think he shot one takedown and looked terrible doing it en route to a losing decision. So, that kind of nonsense fight IQ is sort of his Achilles heel, and a lot of these fighters have an Achilles heel. So, Yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna make money on it.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's Thursday night action, but no, sadly it's a Friday night action. That's a night we usually don't need any extra MMA because there's usually, LFA or something, something solid going down. This week we got what? Invicta, I think is Friday this week.
Invicta's Friday is weird. They used to be Wednesday way back in the day.
Yep.
I think it's the CBS deal.
Yeah, I was going to say which more of these promotions would lean into non-UFC days or non-busy days, but they are a slave to who's actually paying the bills for them and the television deals that they have. So it makes I get it, but yeah, it would be nice if we had Wednesdays and Thursdays and magical Tuesday nights. That's coming up soon enough, though. The UFC will take care of Tuesdays for us. So, all right, before we move on, I have an ad read once I get the tab open. There it is. It's on the screen for us, you YouTube viewers, and it's for SGPN. That's us. That's our network. The countdown to football season is on. The ticking you hear is the countdown clock. It's not a bomb. It's a countdown clock. You're good. And SGPN has you covered. The College Football Experience is doing individual team previews for every college football team. Plus, SGPN's 5-minute fantasy football is your quick and dirty podcast, getting you prepped for all things fantasy. So make sure you subscribe. YouTube, subscribe, Audioli, I just said. There's the title of the episode, Audioli. I'm not even going to try to correct it. That's what the word is, Audioli. I'll have to figure out how to spell it, but we'll get through it. Okay. As I get dog kisses, we're going to move in to PFL 6 2024 regular season. Do you have any dogs with you as you're recording, Gumby?
Nah, they all stay upstairs while I'm down here.
These I got dogs all over me. So anyhow, that's fine. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Been there? No, you haven't. I think we talked about this before, right?
No, I haven't been to Sioux Falls. I like when they do fights there. The commission's usually pretty good. Yeah,
good. It's in the Sanford Pentagon, which sounds like it's a military organization. It probably is a military spot, but it is Friday night. As I said, 6 p.m. Eastern is the start time. It's on ESPN for the main broadcast. The prelims are on ESPN Plus. In Canada, they expect us to pay for both of this. They expect us to buy pay-per-view the zone we're supposed to pay, which is only like $30 a month. So yeah, I'll get right on that. I always get excited. Oh yeah, PFL's on, and then I remember. Oh yeah, PFL's not on up here unless you want to buy another streaming service. Anyhow, that's us Canadians' problem. Don't you worry about you Americans. 13 fights. We had some last minute changing. It was so last minute. Gumby had to keep me updated right before we went on air. But we are up to date as of this recording Sunday for you. So we're going to kick things off with a non-tournament fight. 3 5-minute rounds at featherweight. Jordan Oliver versus Juan Gandara. And we'll tell you about. We don't have odds for this one because it just got, like I said, just when did this happen? I guess yesterday, probably, right? Since I
Tapology updated this morning, so
okay, yeah, because I did this yesterday. I finished up the prep work, and it was not this was not a fight yet. So anyway, Gandara 1-0 with 1 submission. This is a short notice PFL debut. That's all the info I have for him. Gumby assures me he has seen his one fight, though. So, Mr. Gandara's. Oliver is that dude. He's 1-0 with 1 submission. This is his debut. His one fight took place in Bellator. It was a submission win. He was a wrestling champion 3 years, I think, collegiately. I'm not sure. I don't think he did national wrestling. Company let us know. But collegiately, at the very least, he was a championship wrestler, so a All-American. 3 years younger than Gandara, 5 inches taller. I assume they're setting him up with this fight. Well, this is last minute, so who knows what they're trying to do. Go ahead, Gumby. No odds for this one. Sorry.
Yeah, he's being set up for this fight. It's kind of a shame because he was supposed to fight another opponent who was a high level. Well, maybe not as high level as he is as a collegiate wrestler.
Yeah, but
Hokie, who he was supposed to have fought, was a wrestler at Fresno State. Jordan, that's not to say he's the level Jordan Oliver is. Jordan Oliver, 2-time national champion, 1-time national runner-up, 3-time Big 12 or 4-time Big 12 champion.
That's as many times as you can get.
Yeah, he was just an absolute animal. And so, like, I think this is now a setup fight. Before it was sort of just test and see if his wrestling held up against people with other good wrestling. And now, Juan Gandara, you know, from what I could tell on the film that I've seen, he looks like he wants to foul Jordan Oliver's game plan most of the time. Like he looks like he's looking for a double leg all the time. You know, he's a touch slower on the feet than Oliver, but like most of his punches are a means to an end to get to the takedown. You know, he likes his submission skills, but it's like mostly power submissions, like arm triangles and stuff like that. And Oliver's just going to be better in every single conceivable way in all of those things. So, you know, the short notice for Gandara sucks. You know, the fact Oliver is better at everything. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Gandara's lone pro fight was like 6 years ago or something like that. Like I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice.
I want to say it was
2018.
I want to say 2018, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking. It's been a minute since Gandara has fought, in other words. So like
correct, 2018.
Yeah, so it's been
and all his regional and all his all his amateur fights were before that as well. So what has this man been doing? So
6 years, gonna try to follow a game plan of literally fighting a guy who's better at everything than he is. And you know, taking this on short notice. This should be Jordan Oliver -1,000. I don't know if it'll be that high, but it should. And obviously my pick's Jordan Oliver.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So you watched Mr. Gandara's fight at Southwest Brawl 7?
Yeah, I found some clips of it. I also found some clips of one of his AMI fights too, which was cool. Kind of more of the same. That's how I was pretty sure this is what he tried to do.
Probably the first time you've dipped into Southwest Brawl, Gambi.
That's the first time I've even heard of it.
All right, there you go. Okay, we are up to a welterweight fight. This is a tournament fight, I believe, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Zach Juusola, USA. Luca Poclit. He's from the Balkans, but Moldova, to be more specific. 3 5-minute rounds, 170 pounds. Let's tell you about Poclit first, and I'm going to try not to mention the odds and get Gumby to guess. Poclit's 10-1. 1 knockout, 6 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time. This is his PFL debut, so he's stepping in mid-tournament. He's won 10 straight fights, including his last one via submission. He's not lost since March of 2012, excuse me. 3-0 in Bellator, 2 years younger than Juusola, an inch reach on him, and blank for his odds. There. Half of it I made it through.
You did it.
Juusola. Yeah. It should be Juicy Juusola, should it not?
I think we joked about that last time we broke down this fight because we've already broken it down.
Dad's repeat jokes. That's what dads do. Jusola's 14-9, 4 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 2-0 in PFL. He's won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. He's not lost a fight since March of 2022. Used to fight at lightweight, 2010 pro MMA debut. 1-1 as a pro boxer. 1-0 in bare knuckle fighting. An inch of height over Poclit and blank. All right, Gumby.
So
what are the odds? Who's the favorite? Who are you picking?
So first of all, when we broke this down for PFL 3, I think I said Poclit. I wanted him to be, you know, like I expected him to be around -250. I expected him to be a decent sized favorite. It wound up coming out that he was like -450, if I'm remembering correctly. And you can go back and listen to my breakdown. It doesn't change at all based on the fact that this is happening 3 events later. Poclit is just like a really good scrambler. He finds submissions in the weirdest way. He has a submission that he calls the Lucatine or the Luca Trizer or something.
Now I remember.
Yeah. It's like it was like this weird. Just Google it. There's no way I can describe it. It looks like he's putting his head up his own butt while he's trying to submit the guy, and it works. And so like. He's really good at scrambling. Juusola mostly has gotten by in his career by being kind of like a gritty dude who is like never runs out of gas and keeps scrambling with you. The problem is he's just going to get caught in this up. So originally I said -250. I like Poclit in there. He came in -450. I don't like him so much against a guy who's like a grinder and a survivor like Juusola if he is still -450. My guess here is that with the time off, that number's probably gone up a little bit. So, my official guess here, -500.
549. So you're right in range. Yep.
Yeah. And so like it went up even higher. I would say I'm going to pick Poclit. I think he's going to catch him in something on the scrambles. But like I would stay away from that money line. If you could find like a Poclit subline, I think that's probably your only way to really make money on this fight. Because Juusola is just, I mean, he's a dog, and I don't want to be on the opposite side of him at -549, you said.
Yeah. Why did it fall through the first time, the fight?
I think both of them had issues getting to the like. I think both of them had to drop out. I don't think either wound up fighting on the card.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Before we move on, I got to tell you about Underdog Fantasy and Pick 8. Pick 8 is now live on Underdog Fantasy. You can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. Best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Gummy, do you have a pick? Maybe for the NHL Stanley Cup Game 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go higher. Let's go higher. Let's go higher than on Connor McDavid's goals. Because you know, hey, you do have Edmonton's going to pull this off in the most epic fashion.
Boy. We hope so. All us Canadians up here. All right, don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Make sure you sign up with our promo code. First of all, it's the important thing. We both win here. SGPN MMA is the code. And you get to claim a special pick and a first-time deposit offer if you use that of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. All right, we are moving on to the first featherweight fight on the bill in the tournament. Tyler Diamond, United States of America, Brett Johns from Wales. This isn't a short notice fight. Both these guys had opponents for this evening's event that fell out. And so they've been matched up. So I don't have odds for this fight. I'm sure Gumby will be able to guesstimate pretty good for you. Let's tell you about Johns first. The Pikey, 20-4, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions, never been finished in any fight. 1-1 in PFL. He's won 3 of his last 4, but he did lose his last fight. He went 2-1 in Bellator, 5-2 in the UFC. He used to fight at bantamweight and lightweight, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. Has missed weight twice at bantamweight, but we're up at featherweight now, so hopefully we are good. 2012 pro MMA debut for Johns. Diamond, 13-3, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once, 2-2 in PFL, 4-2 over his last 6, including winning his last fight. 0-1 in the UFC, 1-1 in the Ultimate Fighter, and is a regional champion. And that's all I got.
So I think these odds are going to favor Johns ever so slightly. I originally, when I looked at it, thought they were going to be much wider, especially because he's getting a step down in competition. But my guess is that these come in right around, I'll say Brett Johns negative 145, and Tyler Diamond's in the plus. I know, at least on the Tapology polls that I had seen when this card first got announced, Tyler Diamond was probably going to be a favorite against Jose Perez. So I think if he was going to be a favorite against Jose Perez, this line's going to be pretty close. And I'm going to go with Brett Johns. I'll take another favorite here. I think Brett Johns, ultimately for me, is going to have the wrestling advantage, I think. I know Tyler Diamond comes from a wrestling background. He's got that USA wrestling tattoo that wrestlers love to put on their back. But I don't think that helps him here because I watched him get out wrestled by Brendan Logman one time. And that's a bad sign. And then he immediately got out grappled by Movid Kaibulev as well. And granted, those are 2 guys who can wrestle a little bit, but so can Brett Johns. And also in general, I think Brett Johns is faster than him on the feet here. Tyler Diamond tends to be very hittable on the feet. Like it's because I think he comes from a wrestling background and like he learned enough to do with the hands, but like is so focused on the wrestling that maybe the nuance of like getting his head off the center line is lost on him. And Brett Johns is like a good enough striker, right? Like I personally like it better when he wrestles and grapples and gets to that part of his game. I think that's the best part of his game. But I think here he's going to have an advantage on the feet. I think even if Diamond wants to wrestle, John stuffs him anytime he wants and winds up taking this fight. So yeah, give me Brett Johns. My guess, like I said, probably negative 145.
Okay, mark it in, mark it down. All right, we're flipping back to welterweights. Don Madge from South Africa, right? Right. Yes. Versus Neiman Gracie. He's listed from Brazil. I think he's really from the United States, and his last name is not really Gracie. Anyhow, let's break it down. We'll tell you about Gracie first. 12-5, 1 knockout, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out 1 time. 0-1 in PFL. He's won 1 of his last 4, 3 of his last 8, including losing his last fight. 2-0 in World Series of Fighting. He's fought at middleweight. 2013 pro MMA debut. He's a BJJ champion. 2 inches reach over a match. Magic Man, Don Madge, 11-4-1, 5 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 2-1 in PFL. He's won 8 of his last 9, including his last fight via submission. He went 2-0 in the UFC. Used to fight at lightweight. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. 2011 Pro MMA debut. 2 years younger than Gracie. And I'm not telling you the odds because you're going to guess. Go ahead.
So I think Madge is going to be a favorite. Probably not a massive one here. Like I'll say like -150 to +175 on Gracie.
Nope.
No.
Keep going.
Higher?
Higher.
How much higher?
Way higher.
Okay.
Mine is 450 plus 350.
Mine is 450. Oh, so this is great because I was already planning on taking Neiman Gracie.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think this is a sleeper spot for Neiman Gracie because yes, he is coming off of a loss. And maybe he doesn't look like the version of himself that was like a title challenger in Bellator. But first of all, Don Madge is a lightweight, right? Don Madge is a guy who fought at lightweight in the UFC, has fought at lightweight a lot in the past. Neiman Gracie fought a bunch up at middleweight from time to time. We're talking about guys who are almost 2 weight classes apart. In addition to that, I think Neiman Gracie is really good at jiu-jitsu and has low-key good takedowns. If you watch some of Don Madge's recent fights, he has moments where he just absolutely forgets to defensively wrestle. Like I was looking back, I went back and watched this fight with Nate Williams, which like nobody listening to this, well, I guess you guys are all like crazy obsessed with MMA degens listening to this. So like if you're one of those people, maybe you know nasty Nate Williams, but he's a 13-12 journeyman. And early in that fight had Don Madge on the ground. Early in that fight. And it was twofold. First of all, it was that Don Madge didn't expect him to take him down, or either that or just seemed disinterested in stopping him. And it's that Don Madge throws an excessive amount of kicks, and sometimes they're really predictable. He got him caught multiple times against Nate Williams. You know, I've seen him get caught in other fights as well. But, like, that Nate Williams fight sticks out to me because, like, if that journeyman is going to take you down a bunch, Neiman Gracie is going to take you down twice as much. And then in addition to that, I also just think the thing that is given Neiman Gracie the most trouble in his most recent fights is that people pressure him. People put too much, speed on him. And like I said, he's slowing down in his age and he's slowing down at where he is in his MMA career. Madge is a guy who can be really tentative on the feet. Like just be happy with still being in this fight. Just be happy with hanging around. And if he does that and just like then occasionally throws a leg kick, he might have no volume out there before he's on his back. So, I was going to take Neiman Gracie here. Plus 175 was my guess. So you're telling me, what did you say? 350?
Double. Yes.
Yeah. Plus 350. Yeah. I mean, like he's definitely worth a stab at that price.
All right. Don't you people gas up the line and ruin it for everyone else. Okay. Let's move on to a couple of familiar names to people probably. It's featherweights again. Kai Kamaka III, United States. Pedro Carvalho. He's basically from Ireland at this point, but originally from Portugal. This is 3 5-minute rounds, 145 pounds. Who should I tell you about first? I'm going to tell you about Kamaka, the Fighting Hawaiian, 13-5-1, 1 knockout, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice. 1 on PFL. He's won 4 straight fights and 5 of 6. He's not lost since April 2022. He went 6-1 in Bellator, 1-2-1 in the UFC. Used to fight at bantamweight, 2012 pro MMA debut. Carvalho, the game, 13-9, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. 0-1 in PFL. He's lost 3 straight and only won 1 of his last 5. 2 straight losses have come via TKO. He went 6-5 in Bellator. Used to fight at lightweight. Was regional champion. 2012 pro MMA debut. 4 inches taller, 1 inch reach over Kamaka.
I'm going to go with Kai Kamaka. I bet he will be, I won't say a massive, well, probably pretty massive. Let's say -300 favorite on Kai Kamaka.
Higher. 450.
-450. That's a bummer. Yeah. I'm still gonna take Kai Kamaka here because like the bottom line is like Carvalho, sort of the same thing people are writing off Gracie for are true about Pedro Carvalho. Not that Neiman Gracie hasn't lost a step or two, but like Pedro's lost like a lot of steps. And then maybe his biggest issue is just that like he leans when he strikes. Like when he's coming forward, his chin's way up in the air. He's really reaching to try to find his opponent. And like against a guy who is like a technician, an absolute technician with his hands, right? That's what Kai Kamaka is. He didn't hang around in the UFC because his game wasn't well-rounded enough, but he's a damn good boxer. you know, against a guy who's a good boxer like Kai Kamaka, he's just going to pick Carvalho apart every time he overextends himself and light him up. So, yeah, I think, you know, between how good Kai Kamaka looked in his last fight, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that those odds are negative 450. But, like, he's clearly the pick here against Carvalho. So, yeah, give me Kai Kamaka.
All right, Kamaka it is. Rhythm is also clearly the pick for us. And it should be for you too. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants. With over 3 years of data, they help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. And as we said before, the clock is ticking. The countdown is on for the NFL season. It's never too early to start your NFL projections. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. What are we moving to now? I think we're just flopping back and forth, but yep, we're going back to welterweights now. Goiti Yamauchi from Brazil, Andrey Koreshkov from Russia, 3 500 rounds, 170 pounds. I will tell you about Koreshkov first, the Spartan, 27-5, 14 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 0-1 in PFL. He's won 5 of his last 6, but did lose his last fight. 16-4 in Bellator, actually, 16-4, and was the champion there. Used to fight at middleweight, 2010 Pro MMA debut. He's a 2-time Sambo world champion, 3 inches taller, 2 inches reach over Yamauchi. Yamauchi is 29-6. 3 knockouts, 21 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 1-0 in PFL. He's won 4 of his last 5, including his last fight. 14-5 in Bellator. Used to fight at featherweight and lightweight. Has missed weight at featherweight and lightweight. Was regional champion, 2010 Pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than Koreshkov.
I think you might have just tipped your hand here, even though you didn't give me odds. Did you say that you had to go Koreshkov first because he's a dog?
Nope, I didn't say that. I said nothing about a dog. What do you?
But he did.
Hearing things?
But you did go with him first. Is he
I
a
said
dog?
Let's go with Koreshkov first. I said we're going with Koreshkov first. I said nothing about the odds.
All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, based on what you're saying. What you're saying right now is I expect him to be a dog, based on the order that you did. But I did not expect him to be a dog.
I switched the order up.
Did you?
I switched the order up. Oh. Yeah, I do. I have been. You haven't noticed.
I haven't noticed, but
I'm smart.
It seemed like you pump faked and gave me Koreshkov first just because you thought he was a dog. Anyway, right. Originally I had Goiti Yamauchi as a dog plus 140. Where are we at?
Yamauchi minus 162. Koreshkov plus 136. 136.
I mean, it's not going to change the way I handicap this fight, but it is going to change my suggestion and how you bet it. I'm going to take Goiti Yamauchi. I really thought he was going to be an underdog here. I thought we'd see a little bit of that OV run. I personally, and maybe the bookmakers feel the same way as me, like Yamauchi in this fight because, first of all, he seems to be getting stronger. He seems to be stronger than he used to be. What
are you trying to say, Gumby?
The dude has a great workout regimen. That's what I'm trying to say. He looks buff. And a lot more buff than he did at featherweight.
A lot of acai. It's all that acai in Brazil.
I mean, right? I don't know what he's eating, but it's doing him well. He looks more buff than he used to look, and it's helping his boxing, right? Like now he's hitting really hard. Like when he hits people, they wobble. And it's great because like previously the best part of his game was just that he was like a fun scrambler. He was good on the ground. He was always winning fights by just being like kind of a crafty dude on the mat. And now he can like crack a little bit on the feet. I don't think Koreshkov at this stage of his career is like the same that like he had lost that fight to Lorenz Larkin recently. And Larkin kind of seems like a shell of his old self too. So, you know, I think Yamauchi is probably going to be able to force whatever kind of fight he wants. You know, like I said, he's got the power in his hands now. I like Goiti in this fight quite a bit. I'm a little bummed that you said negative 162. Because I did originally.
I think he is.
Oh, 36.
No, 62. You're right. I'm sorry. Okay, 162. Yeah.
And originally I had him as a dog. I thought this was going to be like my, what's that? I've only had one dog all events.
Yeah.
I was really hoping he'd be the second one, but you know, I have to say the bookmakers probably did the right thing here.
Maybe the next fight you'll pick a dog in. Maybe. There is a dog in the next fight. There's always a dog in every fight, pretty much.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You don't know what the odds are. You've been surprised. You've been surprised before.
I don't. I'm not getting this one wrong, though.
It's a featherweight fight. Timur Khizriev from Russia versus Enrique Barzola from Mexico. I will tell you about Khizriev first because he's the dog. Imam is the nickname. 15-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been 1-0 in PFL, 3-0 in Bellator, 2014 Pro MMA debut, 6 years younger than Barzola, an inch taller. Barzola, El Fuerte, the strong, 28-1, 20-8-2, excuse me, not 1, 20-8-2 is his record. 5 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time, very durable, man. 0-1 in PFL, 2-1 over his last 3, did lose his last fight, 5-2 in Bellator. He's fight at bantamweight, 6-3-1 in the UFC. 2-0 in the Ultimate Fighter and the champion of his season 2012 Pro MMA debut, an inch reach over Khizriev. Go ahead.
Khizriev's got to be a massive favorite. I'm going to say 400, negative 400.
Yeah, 395.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's an easy one. You know, Khizriev, I mean, he's got all the advantages. You know, I just spent however long talking about how much I like Brett John's ability to wrestle and wish he did it more. And like, he just didn't. It was him that fought Khizriev last, right? I'm not conflating that. Put the intern on it.
Check.
I'm gonna ramble. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and he wasn't able to grapple Khizriev. That just shows what kind of advantage he has there. And you know, Barzola has always been a guy who, you know, if you go back to his time in the UFC, he actually did look like he could sprawl with people and he could work in the clinch with people. And I just think he's outmatched here. He's going to be the slower guy. He's going to be the less explosive guy. He's going to be the guy with worse wrestling. Khizriev, even at negative 400, still to play. So, yeah, let's go with him.
All right. And let's tie a bow on this episode and we'll wrap up the other half tomorrow. We'll give you a recap of what Gumby has picked. He's got Khizriev. He's got Yamauchi. He's got Kamaka. He has got Gracie. He has got Johns. He has got Poclit. He has got Oliver. Do I have them all right?
That's right.
Awesome. He's also in the Discord all the time, as am I. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. He also runs our Twitter account at SGPN MMA. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. He's at Gumby Vreeland. Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram as well. Check out my Substack. Play my weekly UFC picking contest. Check out all my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Listen to Gumby's other podcast, minus me, where he interviews interesting people in the MMA world. That would be Top Turtle MMA podcast. What else should you do? YouTube. Get those subscriptions up for us. They're still coming in slowly but surely on our quest to hit 1,000. So that would be, of course, MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. And the mothership is sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You should also check out sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll wrap up the rest of the PFL. It'll be Magic Man, Jeff Fox. It'll be that dude. Come be real, and we'll talk to you then.